Michael's manager, cigar-smoking Frank DeLeo. He joined the interview as Michael's friend and chief minder. Now, about those headlines.
Does it affect you? Does it hurt you to see some idiotic stories that are written?
Yeah, I'll answer that question if you don't mind. It hurts me. If it hurts me, I know it hurts Michael. He's a little more blasé about it than I am. I mean, he just sort of shrugs it off. But I find it very terrible that some of the stuff that is written, particularly about plastic surgery, and the majority of it, not the majority, all of it is garbage and rubbish. And, you know, if that's the best thing that's the only thing they can figure out to do with their life, then, you know, they're pretty sick people.
What surprises me sometimes, the people that get distracted and myopic about Michael's eccentricities when they listen to his music and watch his performance, that's like somebody saying, hey, there's a cobweb on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
When Michael and Quincy Jones were no longer working together, Michael wrote almost all his own material, produced himself most of the time, and thus his idiosyncrasies came to the fore. The twin themes that became disturbingly apparent for those of them who had followed him his entire life were sentimentality and paranoia. The paranoia revealed in songs like They Don't Care About Us and Scream, and the sentimentality in Earth Song, Heal the World, the songs about children. And that tied in with the changes he was making to his own body in the interest of looking forever young, hence Peter Pan of pop. And by the year 1995, I'd grown so disturbed by what I considered his obvious emotional decline that I went on breakfast television the day that he floated a large statue of himself down the River Thames to promote the album History. And I said, I'm not enjoying this, and I'm not going to add in this media hoopla, because I think what we're seeing here is the deterioration of a great talent, as with Judy Garland. And unless people are real with him and he is real with himself and turns himself around, this will not end happily. It was the most obvious thing in the world. It didn't necessarily have to end with his death.
Michael and I had a close relationship because we just became really very, very close.
It's been said that Michael Jackson underwent plastic surgery to make himself look more like you.
I don't think so.
Is that true?
No, well, I don't think he has. No one's ever told me. He's never told me that. I don't think so.
But is it unnerving for you to have a young man that's undergone plastic surgery to make himself look like you?
Well, I don't think he's trying to look like me. I really don't. I think he wants to look like what he perceives as makes him feel happy about himself, you know? I don't think he's trying to look like me. I do think he's quite beautiful, though, by the way.
I think everybody in the music industry who is more interested in the music than the cult of celebrity is embarrassed by the amount of attention given to the personal life of Michael Jackson, but understands that the public was drawn to it because it was like watching a car crash. It's hard not to watch. If you know there's going to be a car crash in 5 seconds, you tend to look rather than turn away. And when Michael had marriages of convenience, people in the music business just kind of bit their tongue. They knew that the marriage to Lisa Marie was certainly an empathetic match. She knew well what it was like for a man to be the biggest star in the world. But that didn't mean that there was a hope for a serious long-term romantic relationship. People in the music business knew Michael Jackson, and they knew that this was not in the cards. So he swallowed hard, waited for the divorce, and it came, and then the next one happened with Debbie Rowe.
On the first day of his honeymoon, Michael Jackson finally left his hotel suite late in the day without his new bride. It was hard to tell if there was a smile behind the mask, and he wasn't talking, but the newlyweds seemed happy. Last night, Jackson had only just finished his first Australian concert when the word got out.
Michael, is it true you plan on getting married? Are you getting married?
No comment, but the masked one seemed surprised. In fact, his wife-to-be, Debbie Rowe, was waiting inside their hotel suite. The ceremony taking place shortly after midnight, a close circle of management and minders, the only guests.
He wanted children, he didn't want a wife. And he didn't see any of the other modern ways of having children as being viable for him. But Michael Jackson embraced the title, King of Pop, and took it so seriously that he named both his male children Prince Michael. Not after the recording artist Prince, but they were the young versions of Michael the King. That's taken it a bit far.
I have suffered and dealt with the same kind of medical problem now afflicting my friend Michael Jackson. Because of that, and because of our friendship, when Michael's doctor called to ask if I could help, I was glad to intervene. I traveled to Mexico City, where I saw for myself that Michael was in desperate need of specialized medical attention. Because of my own experience with addiction to prescription medicines, I was able to make a number of calls in search of the best and most appropriate treatment for Michael, and he is now undergoing such treatment in Europe. Out of respect for his privacy, which I know to be extremely important at this time, I have not spoken publicly about our movements or about Michael's exact location. And because of my regard for him and my concern for his health, I will continue to be silent.
I didn't know about the prescription drugs, but I did know that he had certain physical things that he was dealing with, you know. So no, I didn't know to that degree that it was that serious or that dangerous.
Thank you.
What's so special about tonight? What's so special about tonight's performance for you? What makes it so great? What makes it such a great night for you?
It's a reunion, and I'm honored that the world appreciates my art. I'm very honored. Ever.
Are you excited to be back with your brothers? Yeah, excited? All of them? How great is Michael as a man? You know him well as a person. How great is he as a man?
Well, he's one of my closest friends, and we know more about each other probably than any two people. And I love him, and he loves me.
That's why to this day I don't lay a finger on my children. I don't want them to ever feel that way about me.
All of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent.
Well, I must tell you that this is very difficult for me, that Michael is my brother, I love him a great deal, but I cannot and I will not be a silent collaborator of his crimes against small, innocent children. And if I remain silent, then that means that I feel the guilt and the humiliation that these children are feeling, and I think it's very wrong. I have seen checks payable to the parent of these children. And I don't know if these children were apparently bought to the parents by Michael or not. But I have seen these checks. And I've seen these checks through my mother. She's shown me these checks that Michael had written to these children, and it's for a great amount. And I'm not speaking pennies. The sums are a very, very large amount. And this is my first time talking about it, and I never want to speak about it. I never want to say anything about it. But I think it's sad because I am a victim myself, and I know what it feels like. And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life, and I don't want to see any more innocent small children being affected this way. I love Michael very dearly, but I feel even more sorry for these children because they don't have a life anymore. They don't. Now you stop and you think for 1 second, and you tell me what 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days and take another boy and stay with him for 5 days.
The hardest thing for me has been more than just 6 months back. It was when Latoya first got out there with this man that she's with. And you know, it's haven't been no let up. We thought it would die after a while, especially lies. We think they died out after a while. But every little opportunity they get, they come out with more. And I think they're using this now to come out with more. I can't speak for Michael, but I know one thing. Michael is not guilty. I've talked to him before, and I think he'll be fine because he has nothing to be ashamed of.
He's strong.
So he's very strong. He'll just come out.
We have concluded that because the young boy who was the catalyst for this investigation has recently informed us that he does not wish to participate in any criminal proceeding where he is named as a victim, that we must decline prosecution involving Mr. Jackson.
Michael paid the father of the boy millions. Some people take that as an admission of guilt. But according to Janet, Michael was trying to say,
look, leave me alone. I'm sick of your crap. You're after money. You've said it here. Get out of my life. Now, if this really went on, do you think a father would accept money, that would make it okay, that would make everything all right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I know that if that were my son, I'm sorry. I don't care if you gave me $1 billion. I want to see you either behind bars or dead for the rest of your life for doing that to my son or my daughter. It's crazy. The guy was after money is what he wanted.
An investigation by police culminated in a raid on Neverland by 75 officers. Gavin alleged abuse, and Jackson's nightmare unfolded.
The felony complaint involves 9 counts. 7 counts of 288A in violation of the California Penal Code, commonly known as child molestation, and 2 counts in violation of Penal Code Section 222 that involves administering an intoxicating liquor to a child for the purpose of committing a felony. Those are the 9 counts.
Everybody needs to go back. Step up. Step back. Stop. Everybody needs to go back. Step up. Step back.
Michael Jackson, leaving the courthouse with his mother at his side, stands accused of an extraordinary catalogue of offences, including child abduction and molestation, false imprisonment and extortion. The so-called King of Pop was wearing a red armband, but this was a far from regal appearance by his standards. Instead of dark shades, he wore sober spectacles. The scene was in contrast to Jackson's previous appearance at the court, when he'd upset the judge by arriving late and then playing to the gallery of his fans.
First of all, I want everyone to know it's a great honor and privilege to appear in this courthouse before Judge Melville, who is an outstanding and fair and very decent judge. This case is about one thing only. It's about the dignity, the integrity, the decency, the honor, the charity, the innocence, and the complete vindication of a wonderful human being named Michael Jackson. Thank you.
After his lawyer of just a few days had spoken, Jackson himself addressed the small community from which his trial jury is likely to be chosen.
I would like to thank the fans around the world. I would like to thank the fans around the world for your love and your support from every corner of the earth. My family, who's been very supportive, my brother Randy, who's been incredible. I want to thank the community of Santa Maria. I want you to know that I love the community of Santa Maria very much. It's my community. I love the people. I will always love the people. My children were born in this community. My home is in this community. I will always love this community from the bottom of my heart. That's why I moved here. Thank you very much.
The singer's adversary is the local district attorney. The pair clashed over earlier allegations against Jackson, which were settled out of court. The Jackson camp say the attorneys exceeded his proper role in gathering evidence. The star's fans, some from Britain, remain staunch.
You just look into the man's eyes, he loves children. Look at what he built Neverland. That's someone who loves kids. He's a child that never grew up.
I travelled to the other ends of the earth to support Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson denies all the allegations against him. The next hearing in the case is due in a month's time. The substantive trial won't be heard until the autumn at the earliest.
Please keep an open mind and let me have my day in court. I deserve a fair trial like every other American citizen. I will be acquitted and vindicated when the truth is told.
Greed begets greed. Mr. Jackson now realizes that the advice he received was wrong. He should have fought these actions to the bitter end and vindicated himself. The recent publicity about these settlements is unfair and damaging to him, his family, and his dedication to the world's children. The charges he faces are false and will be battled in a court of law within our justice system. He is innocent and will be vindicated.
After more than a year of pre-trial preparation, the case of the people versus Michael Jackson is finally underway. A small crowd of fans braving the rain and outnumbering protesters as the 46-year-old prepared for the fight of his life. Jackson accompanied by his mother, her son now facing 4 counts of child abuse against a 13-year-old boy. And it's in this jury room that the so-called Jackson 12 will decide the singer's fate. 8 women, 4 men, mostly white and Hispanic, and none black. Jackson's defense expected to play the race card if their case goes badly. This morning, District Attorney Tom Sneddon laid out the prosecution's case. His indictment claims Jackson abused the boy between February and March 2003, but this afternoon, defense lawyer Tom Mesereau is expected to question the credibility of Gavin Arvizo's mother, Janet, claiming she has a history of lying for money and has coaxed her son to do the same. A short time ago, a show of defiance from the superstar just after the prosecution had alleged that the singer had masturbated 13-year-old Arvizo twice. The boy's brother expected to be called as a witness. If found guilty on all charges, Michael Jackson facing up to 20 years in jail.
In the United States, he is regarded as one of the greatest courtroom interrogators, but there was only one question on Tom Mesereau's lips today: where was his client? In frustration, he paced up and down, making frantic phone calls. Jackson had failed to show for the trial's most crucial day. The judge not impressed. News reached court officials. Jackson was in hospital again, this time with back pain.
There's now an unconfirmed report he's on his way back from Santa Ynez Hospital.
In showbiz, there are dramatic entrances, and then there is Michael Jackson. He limped into court, and with those pajama bottoms he was wearing, the back pain suffering Mr. Jackson still managed a turn and a wave to his fans. So has the star simply buckled under pressure? Was the strain too much of seeing his accuser in court?
What happened this morning? How's your back?
Hold on. Where are you, Mike?
Tell us about your back.
Mr. Jackson asked me to make a statement here. He tripped this morning and he fell in the early morning hours while he was getting dressed. His back is in terrible pain. He was in terrible discomfort during the entire trial proceedings. He's going to go home, recuperate, rest and relax, and he'll be back on Monday, and he's looking forward to being here. And he went to the emergency room this morning and he was given medications, so he'll be back on Monday, and we all thank you so very much. You take care.
Michael, how does it feel watching the accuser testify?
Sorry.
How is it facing your accuser?
Sorry, I can't speak now.
Okay.
Are you hurting right now, Michael? Yeah, Mike.
Well, I hope he's innocent. I hate to see it happen, but I have children of my own, and if he's guilty, then I hope they punish him real well. They say he may need help.
If some kid can tell you what Michael Jackson's penis looked like, we got a problem.
What's interesting at the moment is that, you know, the waiting continues. It's been a week now. But what's clearly happening here is confrontation. The people have got bored, things getting tense, and you're seeing everyone shouting at each other at the moment.
Well, there's a concern whenever you have two opposing emotions colliding. But I think that we've done a good job of intervening quick to keep the sides apart. And for the most part, the fans have been cooperative with us.
Day 31 of the Jackson trial, and time for a diminutive mother of four, Janet Arvizo, to take center stage. Her evidence could end the career of a pop legend. Michael Jackson and his team know that if the jury believe her, it'll be disastrous to their case. She's the mother of the boy who accuses the singer of abusing him, and she alleges her entire family were held hostage by the pop star. Before she started her evidence, Judge Rodney Melville told the jury that Janet Arvizo wouldn't be answering questions on Social Security payments in case she incriminated herself. By the end of the day, Janet Arvizo seemed shell-shocked, desperate to avoid further publicity. Still to come, questions from Jackson's defense team, who must now feel that they can score some points. Juliet Bremner, ITV News in the United States. She's the woman who probably knows Michael Jackson better than anyone. Debbie Rowe is his ex-wife and mother of his two children. Now she's about to take the oath and testify against him. The pop star has every reason to fear her evidence. She's fighting him for custody of the children and is angry that her multi-million-dollar allowance has been stopped. It's unlikely, though, that she'll be able to trawl over the ruins of their relationship.
Believe me, Judge Melville will not allow that to happen. He's going to be very tight.
Tom Mesereau and his defense team are certain to challenge this. They'll also want to highlight Debbie Rowe's willingness to hand over her infants in exchange for a big payout. And there's no doubt that the woman who was once a nurse in a skin clinic will gain. If Michael Jackson is convicted, she'll get the children back.
For once in his life, Michael Jackson was not the center of attention, even though this has been a crucial day in his trial. The focus instead was on the defense's first celebrity witness, the actor Macaulay Culkin. The prosecution had suggested that in the early 1990s, he was one of a number of young boys who had been sexually abused by Jackson.
Macaulay Culkin almost single-handedly devastated and shook the foundation of the prosecution's pattern evidence against Michael Jackson.
Certainly, if the jury believes Culkin, it will be a significant boost for the defense and would undermine 2 prosecution witnesses who have already testified they saw Jackson inappropriately touching the actor.
From across the world, fans are here to scream their support for Jackson and contempt for the prosecutor. Jackson is approaching Judgment Day. The dramatic twists and turns of this trial are over. It's all down now to the power of attorneys. The fanatical noise outside this small-town courtroom is a sideshow. Jackson's liberty or incarceration depends now on the performance behind these doors.
It is difficult waiting, but we're confident, we're keeping spirits up. We're here to support Michael and show him that there are people behind him.
It's pretty tense, you know, you're waiting for the verdict and, you know, you're out in the sun, you know, and you're just waiting for that day to happen, and I'm hoping it's going to be soon.
The pinnacle moment of tension when fanaticism erupted into euphoria. Repeated acquittals, and they raised their idol Michael even higher. Jackson emerged from the courtroom, taking the steps of a dazed man, on a walk he must surely have wondered he would ever be free to make. How different 1 hour before, when the singer, looking ashen and heavily sedated, walked through the doors of American justice to learn his fate. In the courtroom, there were painfully silent minutes, a heavy stillness, before the judge handed the 10 verdicts to the clerk to read.
May the jury in the above entitled case find the defendant not guilty.
They came one by one, not guilty of conspiracy.
Find the defendant not guilty.
Not guilty of sexual abuse.
Not guilty.
And not guilty of plying the boy with alcohol.